same time as I had started on my research throughout the world and throughout time, an older oil man, very famous one, called Wallace Pratt, coined a very famous phrase, and it was, "Oil is found in the minds of men." Well, I didn't like the men bit. I think I knew what he meant. But that was further reinforcing that I did not understand what the key to, let's just call it success at the business of living was. Why is somebody like Gandhi able to go out and make a huge difference in his country, or Nelson Mandela, or Richard Branson, and other people just wait, or indeed can't even get out of bed in the morning? What is that? The mindset of a super achiever. And how do I get to understand how we work? Because that was the gap. Because I couldn't tell this professor, "I'll come and teach what I did," because I didn't know. I didn't know how I did it. So, to cut a long story short, I researched all over the world and found a course that had all the research all the way back 2,000 years to Socrates, who said, "Know thyself." Plato had another go at it in a different format. And many people since. But what's happened? I researched in California, various books, but I needed someone who had taken a historic and a scientific approach, had got their own case histories, and then applied it practically, because I'm a really practical person. So I found a course, and to my surprise, because I was here in Denver at the time, it was started by an Irish man, Dr. Tony Quinn. And so I thought I will go along to it. I was, I think, the first person in America that went. It was 12 years ago. And I went to the course, and I'll just describe after about the third day, because you'll all identify with this. You know the way you have an inspirational book that Brian talked about, or you'll go to an inspirational movie, or indeed meet an inspirational person. But there's gaps between those events. What happened on the course in a very structured, clear way, so that I could apply it, was the coming together and understanding of all of those in a eureka moment. And it was 13 days. As soon as I had understood that structure within myself, how the mindsets of growing up, now I grew up in Belfast, so one of the big mindsets is it a green God or is it an orange God? Well, I couldn't quite get with that one. So I thought, well, there must be something behind those colours. Anyway, I would say that sort of fundamental understanding is a key part of the spirit that we're talking about. Anyway, within a month after completing the course, I went straight to Belize. Remember that first love? I wanted to make a difference with Mike. And I told Mike about the course. We set up Belize Natural Energy. And within 2 years, I believe it was, maybe 3 years, we had actually discovered, as Brian said, the very first oil in Belize, against all odds. But remember, it wasn't just the president of Shell and BP and Mobil who said, "Susan, for heaven's sake, stop talking about Belize. You know, you're ruining your reputation." The first line of attack for any of your ideas is your own doubt. You have an idea, and then you say, "Well, look, I'm a wee girl from Belize. Why should I do a thing? I mean, from Belfast. Why should I be able to do a thing like that?" So that's the first line of attack, and that's something that you need to understand how to say no, because that's not the spirit of us. That's part of your past, part of the old mindsets, the baggage, as we might say, that we're carrying along in different ways. You want to set it down and live. Because you don't know how long. We don't know if we're halfway through, as you said. We want to really live with that spirit. Then, of course, nobody else would come into this wildcat drilling. And so 76 small Irish investors who'd all done the same course joined us. They'd never heard of Belize. They thought a wildcat, and a wildcat is a high-risk oil well, they thought a wildcat was a jaguar. It's probably just as well they didn't really know. Because in wildcat drilling it takes 10 to 15 wells before you hit. And we only had enough money for 2 wells. Talk about faith, trust, belief. That vision that I had learnt how to hold, how to create and see that vision. And a phrase comes to my mind, without vision we perish. We're lost in our own doubts or in somebody else's bombardment of doubts. Either one. You want to be able to see that vision clearly and describe it to everybody so that everybody is in alignment. And that's the key. That's why I got the shivers, it must be. Anyway, it was amazing. It was like all the birthdays coming together when we hit the oil. And the Prime Minister, it wasn't the Prime Minister you just met, by the way, it was the earlier Prime Minister. I love that coincidence, by the way. There's 2 people here in this room that I don't even know that were on my jetty last week in Belize. And she even looks like my sister. It's just, it's one of those lovely things that are lineups in life that we want to take advantage of. Anyway, Belize Natural Energy discovered the first oil, celebrated, but Mike, my darling partner, Mike Usher, had died before we drilled the well. But I was even more determined to go on, you know. And we discovered the oil so light they could put it in their generators without refining. They still do. But we've discovered so much, Shell, who didn't believe anything, is buying it all. Anyway, this next point, when I went to the president of Shell, was the point that he admitted to getting goosebumps. Because Mike had died on the 24th of June, 2004. And we discovered the first oil in Belize on the 24th of June, 2005. He was a young man. He died of a burst hernia. He shouldn't have died. He's been with us, all the oil wells were on the Mike Usher number 22. And I was joking with the group at the board earlier, if I say it quickly, Mike Usher, Mike Usher, Mike Usher, it sounds like my gusher. But it's, and people think I'm a show-off. But when something is aligned from the very essence of ourself, the life, well then you can show off about that because everybody's part of it. We now have 200 Belizeans working with us. All of them are trained in all the facets of oil and gas exploration, production, transportation, marketing, fire and safety. We've won awards all over the world for fire and safety. We're the only oil company that I think even dared enter for the Green Award, and we won it. And then we won a very prestigious global award called the Get Energy, and we beat Saudi Aramco. We changed the paradigm shift from how many barrels have you got or how much money have you made to do you make a difference in the country? And what do you do? Isn't that what Brian was talking about? And that's where it's at, guys. That is where the fun is. That's where life is. That's what makes the difference to all of us. It's huge. And if you go away with something, it's knowing that inside you and dying to get it and go forth with it, with your own passion for your children, for your families, for your communities, for your country, for the world.